Oh, yes. Okay. I'm calling the August 17th, 2026. Yeah, nothing's happening.
There, for it to turn green. It'll turn green. There you go.
Okay. I'm calling the August 17th, 2026 meeting of the Fort Vancouver Regional Library Board of Trustees to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a
Yes,
second?
so moved.
Seconded. Thank you. Christy moved, Janie seconded. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Miranda, could you call the roll, please?
Janie Cavanis,
Present.
Marie Coffey,
Yes.
Olga Hodges,
Aye.
Irina Kakarina,
Aye.
Richard Mahar,
Here.
Christy Morgan,
Aye.
Megan Dugan.
Aye. Motion is adopted. We approve the August 17th agenda. Announcements. I would just like to say thank you to everyone who was involved in moving the meeting to Cascade Park this month at the last minute. I know that was difficult, and we will look forward to being in Goldendale next month. And next, we will hear public comments. We'll take up to 1 hour for comments. Each person called will have 2 minutes to speak. Please stand on the red X, say your first and last name, and direct your comments up to the board.
First, the virtual public comments is Quill Onstead. Quill, you should be able to unmute.
Hi, my name is Quill Onstead, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm here to speak in support of Drag Queen Story Hour as a genderqueer member of the library community. FVRLibraries serves a vibrant and diverse population across 3 counties. Not every program is intended for everyone. While I can appreciate plants and the diversity of our local ecosystem during hikes and river floats, I have a black thumb and have killed multiple succulents. I won't be attending any events about gardening. The Reptile Man has been one of the most popular programs during the summer reading program for well over a decade, but families with reptile-averse kids or their parents probably give it a pass. Parents and guardians know what's best for their kids. The library is not and cannot be responsible for determining what is or is not best for everyone else's kids. Drag Queen Story Hour is a vital program that teaches kids about gender identity in an age-appropriate manner. Parents who do not approve of Drag Queen Story Hour do not have to bring their children to any Drag Queen Story Hour programs. Please allow the staff of FVRLibraries to present Drag Queen Story Hour and have the district live up to the ideals espoused in FVRLibraries' equity statement. Thank you for your service to the community.
All right, next up in the room, we have Nancy Potter. Nancy will be followed by Randy Schmidt, followed by Deanna Catan.
My name is Nancy. I don't think this is on.
It is. You just need to step a little bit closer.
Okay. My name is Nancy Potter, and my library is the Three Creeks Library. Thank you all for your service to this board. As many of you may be aware, many community members have not been happy with the board's decision in regard to the strategic 5-year plan, as well as the appointment of one of the new board members. We are watching you and are hoping that all of you reflect the wishes of the voters in the 3 county-wide area. Many voters, library employees, friends of the library, and foundation campaigned diligently for the passing of the library levy. As a result, library hours, accessibility, and programs have been upgraded in all 3 counties. Plus, Waushova will have a brand new, much-needed library. For Klickitat and Skamania County, these improvements would not have been possible with the small population and tax base. Clark County population and tax base have made these improvements possible. This board represents a regional library system. It is imperative to think of the greater good for all in the regional system. Sometimes it may mean not voting what you think is the best for your population or your own personal position. Library employees and the citizens of all 3 counties depend on you to keep our libraries open to all, and no restrictions on all media and books contained in all locations. The voters are expecting and deserve great decisions out of this board. Don't disappoint us. Thank you for your time.
Next up, Randy Schmidt.
Thank you for letting me speak to you today. Once again, I request that the board implement a policy officially banning the drag queen story hours at your libraries. Last month, or actually 2 months ago, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that sex is an immutable biological characteristic. It is binary, and man and woman, boy and girl are the terms that correspond to adults and children of each sex. That is directly from the Supreme Court decision. Judge Thomas further wrote, to use language to obscure reality to show indifference regarding the truth is to lie to the public and cease to treat our fellow citizens as equals. The ruling is clearly in line with what the United States Declaration of Independence states when it says we hold these truths to be self-evident. Truths? What is truth? Truth is what matches reality. Reality is that there is no scientific knowledge that supports any claim other than boys are boys and girls are girls. Self-evident. It is self-evident that boys are boys and girls are girls, and that one does not change into the other simply due to a belief. Since the goal of the drag queen story hour is to cause gender confusion and acceptance of the lie that gender is whatever we choose to make it, I request that the board enact a policy to protect the children of our district from the harms that this lie has caused to countless children in Southwest Washington. Thank you.
Next up will be Deanna Catan, who will be followed by Gary Wilson.
Hello, welcome to the new board members. I missed the last couple of meetings, but caught up on video and wanted to comment on last month's discussion of the public record requests. Last meeting, Trustee Hodges called providing public records a courtesy. It is not a courtesy, it is a duty. This is a public institution funded by our tax dollars, and that funding comes with an obligation to be transparent. This comes as a timely reminder, as it is the 250th year since we declared that taxation without accountability isn't government by consent. Public record requests take time and cost money. Nobody disputes that. But this board trampled any semblance of community trust when you chose to adopt a strategic plan that didn't reflect community input. And the resulting increase in public record requests was entirely predictable. Person after person emailed you, and others came to meetings to tell you in person that they voted to raise the levy lid because they believed this library upheld the basic principles, then watched those principles get politicized. The volunteers who support the libraries told you they lost trust when they sent their no confidence letters. So let's not pretend this is a surprise. The people hours and cost from the increase in requests are a direct result of the decision the board has made in January. As was said last month, the board is responsible for stewardship of public funds, and that is the entire job. May I suggest that you do it? Thank you.
Gary Wilson.
Hi, Gary Wilson. Thank you, board members, for your service. And as always, please continue to err on the side of caution when it comes to programming and materials for your most vulnerable patrons, the children, because we know not every book in the library is appropriate for children. I know I've pulled out of the library before the book Gender Queer, which has pornographic pictures in it. That should not be available to children. Pornography is not allowed for children. I think it was Supreme Court's decided that. In any event, thank you for also building a caveat with the strategic plan when it comes to intellectual freedom for parents, that they are the stakeholder and primary stakeholder for their children. And I as well contacted over 2,000 people, encouraging them to vote for the levy. And I received a little bit of flack from some of them, but I did it because you guys, although you had 3 drag queen story hours in 2019, you did not have any after that. I know COVID helped kind of put the kibosh on it, but also since you guys opened back up after COVID, there have been no more. So we thank you for that. And because of that, I felt encouraged to let people know to vote your conscience. Don't hold that against them. They haven't had any. And we appreciate the services you guys do. And thank you again for building that caveat for parents with their children, because not everything in the library is appropriate for children. Thank you.
That's all we have signed up.
Thank you, Miranda. Was there anyone else that did not get a chance to sign up for public comment that would like to speak at this time? Including anyone online. I can't see who's online. All right, thank you. I will close public comment at this time. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Miranda, will you call the roll, please?
Katie Kavanagh,
Aye.
Bree Coffey,
Aye.
Olga Hodges,
Aye.
Irina Kakarina,
Aye.
Richard Mahar,
Aye.
Christy Morgan,
Aye.
Megan Dugan.
Aye. Motion approved. We approve all items on the consent agenda, including the July 20 minutes and the July claims. Miranda, financial statement for June.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I am excited to present to you the most exciting part of the evening, the June financials. So the June financials will start on page 13 of your board packet this evening. On page 13 is our statement of cash, and there are a few things I will point out on this page. First of all, our cash balance at the end of June 2026 is just over $36 million. I also want to point out that our net operational activity through the end of June is just over 17.5 million, meaning that our revenues have outpaced our expenditures through June by that amount, which is expected based on the nature of the levy lid lift and how the funding supports us for several years. And finally, on this page, I will point out that we continue to meet our cash target and expect to for a few years to come. Moving on to page 14, our statement of revenues. The things I will point out here is that our property taxes are meeting our expectations. We're at 60% of what we budgeted to receive through the year. I will also point out that in June is when we receive the first half of our contract payment with Yale. So that line item has shown 0% through the year, and now it's showing 50%. We'll receive the other half in November. I will also talk about investment interest. We are not quite at 50% year to date. However, we have picked up once receiving the bulk of our the half of our property taxes in April. That percentage has picked up. In fact, in June, we received 35% of the total year to date. So we'll continue to see that climb and expect to meet our budgeted amount by the end of the year. Moving on, I know I said two things I fibbed.
I want to address the miscellaneous revenue. That's 2,392% of.
I can. Yes, I can. I was prepared for that. There are a couple of things that we didn't budget for. So, for example, Cowlitz County had charged us, and we processed and paid an invoice for property tax that we received a reimbursement for. So that was $20,000 there that wasn't expected or budgeted for. And we also received some additional insurance reimbursement from the Vancouver fire in the server room that took place. So that is 46 of the 59, 60-ish $1,000 there. So those are the two largest pieces. And other things that come up along those lines that we just don't budget for get put in that column.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Moving on to page 15, our statement of expenses. Our personnel budget is at 39%. We've talked a couple of times how we expect this to level out as the year goes on based on timing of union agreement, bargaining contracts getting settled, as well as open hours starting in June and things of that nature. The other thing that I will point out is that we are at 41% for our operational costs. So through June, if everything happened equally through the year, we would be at 50%. So we are tracking a little under, but not much. And again, major expenses like personnel will start to true up as we continue through the year. If we look at the bottom, we can see that the grand total of our expenditures are at 33% year to date. So the difference between that 41 and that 33 really has to do with timing of capital. So we will start to see some project costs come in towards the end of the year. And there are some projects like a re-roofing and HVAC replacement at the operations center that are going to get delayed into next year. So when we do our budget amendment, you'll see those things move. Any questions on expenses?
Hey, it's Olga here. I'm seeing training and travel. I'm just looking at that line item. I am I'm curious about what that looks like, how that's being used in the district. Now might not be the time to do the deep dive, but just wanted to mention that. Looks like we've got a pretty robust budget for it, which is fantastic. Our staff can definitely benefit from all the wonderful trainings that are available out there. And anyway, I'd like to hear more about that sometime. So just a little dog ear on that for now.
I can answer briefly, but yes, I won't have all the specifics, but this covers anything from people traveling to conferences, whether that's the Washington Library Association conference, the Public Library Association, American Library Association conferences. It also covers things like the Government Finance Officers Association or the HR conferences. So depending on which business unit we're talking about, there's a variety of conferences that staff attend. It also covers any webinars that staff take, and those are from a wide variety of things. Right now, I just approved one today that has to do with AI and reference services. And so staff continuously are learning and figuring out how to adopt to their work. The other area we will be using these funds for this year is our annual All-Staff Day that is scheduled for October 29th. And that's where we will close for the day. It's an in-service and all staff will come together at the Skamania Lodge for an all-day training. So that's a major expense that will come out of this. Does that help, or would you like more information?
Oh, that's great information. I think I'll just check in and hear more, just because it's intriguing to hear what is, being used by staff and what's being offered. Is this for training? Do staff seek out their own opportunities, or are things presented and offered? I'm curious how training is rolled in.
Both. Yes, so staff do request training directly. Staff are talking with their supervisors about areas they need to gain new skills in, and so there's joint looking at opportunities. The district offers certain opportunities for staff, and staff sign up. Some are required trainings that staff need to take. So it's a variety of directions and ways that training is sought.
And all staff are encouraged to participate in such things, right?
Every single one.
Hey, that's great. Thanks.
Are there any other questions for? All right, is there a motion to receive and file the June financial statements as presented? So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, Miranda.
Jamie Cavada, Cavaness,
Aye.
Marie Coffey,
Aye.
Olga Hodges,
Aye.
Irina Kakarina,
Aye.
Richard Mahar,
Aye.
Christy Morgan,
Aye.
Megan Dugan.
Aye. Motion to receive and file the June financial statements is adopted. And next, we have the FVRL organizational report with Alicia and Jennifer.
Hello, board. It's nice to see you this evening. So first, I just want to go over just a few highlights of just some really great things that have been happening this summer. So lots of celebrations. The Center Community Library celebrated our 250th. On July 3rd, they had sack races, flag relays, and of course, a huge parachute for the kids to play with. So that was always really popular and fun. Friends of Vancouver Community Library hosted the library's 15th birthday party. So always really exciting. And they do that every single year. So that's always a good event. Ridgefield celebrated their 5th birthday. So that's also exciting. And they did a lot of, they had button making, line dancing, and then they also had Jay Frazier, one of our presenters, who did Magic of Reading show. So that was always really fun for the kids. Moving into strategic priorities, operational excellence. This is just a little shout out to CMD, our communication and marketing department. We have our FVRL news and events newsletter and really try to get those out into the community so that folks can see all of our great programming. So there's some city facilities in Vancouver that are now going to have those available for folks. Furstenberg is one, Arts Hub is another one. So that's really exciting, just getting that information out so folks know what's going on. And then community connection and inclusion, Woodland Community Library. I really love this one. In partnership with their friends group and the Woodland Museum and Historical Society also hosted a 250th celebration. And the branch was designated as temporary post office for the day. So I thought that that was just really, really a neat program and really seemed to resonate with the community. There was also a postcard, commemorative postcard. So that was a really cool touch as well. Moving into library programs, Yakult just continues to knock it out of the park. Yakult Library Express, our tiny little building in Yakult, brought in 188 kids and adults to work on creative activities in the month of July, and folks are always super appreciative. They really love that there's a reliable and accessible activity to enjoy, and we just continue to get lots of folks into Yakult, which is great.
Which is closed this week for a renovation.
Thank you. Three Creeks staff provided programs at some area parks, including Fidelia and Hazeldell. So always nice when staff can get out and meet the community in other places besides the library. So that's always really exciting. They had story walks and crafts. Kids made bird feeders, kid binoculars. So 280 people. So we're able to attend those events this summer. So that's always really great as well. And then these were two just kind of fun stories from White Salmon. You know, we often help people with technology. Folks come in, they're not sure where to start or what to do. So they were able to help somebody who was a little bit older and not very familiar with their laptop. They were able to help her unfreeze her laptop, and she was very, very grateful. And then I think this goes to show, though, that even sometimes teenagers need tech help. So they had a 16-year-old that needed to print a document and was a time crunch. DMV was closing. They were excited to get their license. They got it printed for him. The kiddo was able to go get his license. And so I just thought that that was a really neat story. And then just a couple of updates on projects. Jennifer spoke about these last month, but of course the atrium lighting project was completed ahead of schedule. Everything is going well with that. It's much brighter. It's lovely. And then the deck replacement is still going on. There has been a couple of change orders and additional work. So that project is going to be pushed out a little bit into September, but everything is going really well and it should be wrapped up by then. So, Any questions? Or does Jennifer want to add anything?
Comment would be, that's a really big deal for Woodland. That's national attention in the postal bulletin to get that specific cancellation. So yay, Woodland.
Yeah. I just thought it was really lovely when I
Not
read
unique, but it's a big.
it. Yeah. It was really, really great. So I definitely wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We will now hear the FVRL Foundation report.
Thank you. Use this too. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. So a few big updates since I last saw you in person. We have officially moved into the Operations Center at FVRL, and our team is elated. For those of you that are newer, the foundation was always at the Operations Center, and it had left about 3 years ago. And so we're really glad to be reunited with our peers and partners and to be around books and all the fun things that are happening at the Operations Center. So thank you to the team for making that such a smooth transition. You also probably saw in your packets and hopefully in the news the announcement of some recent gifts for the Washougal Library. I'm really excited that we have the $1 million gift we announced in June and the $6 million gift that we announced in July. And as you know, these gifts are extraordinary and unusual, but they come because of a few key reasons that they become realized. First, people love libraries and they love the mission and the work that we're doing. So it's a great honor and very obvious, right, that they invest because they love the library. But they also invest these gifts of this size because they trust the organizations and the leaders that are stewarding the funds and fulfilling the project and the mission. So I'd like to emphasize that it was a true team effort, and I'm really grateful to Jennifer for her leadership to inspire gifts of this size to benefit our project. But as many know in the fundraising world, it's not over. We still have $400,000 that we're trying to raise to finish up that commitment to the district and to that building.
Will you take that tonight from anyone?
Absolutely. So you'll be hearing more as we do that final push, which is a wonderful opportunity for community members who haven't participated to help us to finish that off. The 24th annual, which is amazing to me, Authors and Illustrators, is happening this year. And we have over 600 tickets that have been sold. And it's going to be a really fun night. This is also the 35th anniversary year of the foundation. So we'll have some really fun, exciting things to share and celebrate at this event. And we hope to see you all there.
Can you give perspective? You said 600 tickets. That's a lot. What is the normal?
So last year we had 500 tickets, which actually was a lot. The year prior, 2024, we had 330. So we're really on an uphill trajectory. Obviously, people love their library and want to come out and celebrate. But Amy Tan also is a wonderful, well-known author that people are thrilled to come out and see live. Okay. And generally at the foundation, we're just continuing to invest our time and resources in building awareness for your mission and the values that the library brings to the community. And we're just continue to be honored to be your partner at FVRL and to do that work together.
Question.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the Endeavor group? Who are they and how is Washougal on their radar?
It's a anonymous gift, and so they're investing in the library because they care about the library and giving back to help make that project a reality and to fund it. So
a lot of money for being anonymous.
Yeah.
So I just had a couple questions. So Amy Tan is sold out?
Oh no,
still got space.
We still have 175 tickets that we can technically sell. It'll be a very full and packed event, but we encourage everyone to get their tickets now.
Excellent. And then as far as getting gifts, is that something that you go out and do, or do people come to you, or does that work both ways?
Well, I love it when they come to me. But the foundation operations is a fundraising shop that is set up to both inspire gifts and to work with donors on sophisticated gifts that help make their philanthropic dreams a reality that connects to the mission and work that's happening at the library. But that is what we are good at and that we love doing and working with people. And it is both proactive and reactive.
Thank you.
And I think to be clear, because you may not know, we get to go on the road together and talk with people.
Very.
And so I get to talk about all the great things the library does and what gifts would mean for our library system. But, you know, Jenny closes the deals and does all the paperwork side of it. So it's really great to see this kind of activity. It is definitely extremely special. It does not happen much this way. Certainly, the $1 million gift, which also is anonymous, has been a long-term relationship that we have had with the donors, but the $6 million gift was new, a new relationship that has formed, and we hope it's a long, successful one.
Wonderful. And do you ever request or talk about land? Like,
Oh, definitely.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have a history of that, of working with the district and supporters who are interested in supporting land projects for sure.
So the land for Washougal was donated.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Thank you for.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a staff report from Jennifer regarding public records.
Well, Brett Auger is here with me, and she is our Strategic Initiatives and Public Records Officer. Brett's been with us 5 months, almost 5 months. And the position was formed because of the growing needs. Last month at the board meeting, we were asked to put together a report. That's what this is. So I'm going to just highlight a few things, and then Brett's here in case you have questions that I might not be able to answer. But on page 32 of the report, you can look at the last 3 years and see we're only halfway through the year, and we've already outpaced both 24 and 25. And so we're set to have a record-setting year, in that those requests come from many different places. So on page 33, the pie chart is to illustrate all the different kinds of requests that are coming through, from board members and administrative decisions to policy information to contracts and financials. So every time we put a bid out, people are writing in asking for who put in that kind of information and all sorts of things they want to know. Some things are easily shared, other things might be proprietary in that category and have to be looked at. Public services, incidents. Somebody's car got ran into, and do you have camera footage that can help me go to my insurance company? The union puts in request. As a agency that has 2 unions, is some information that just is freely given to our unions, and others that are outside the scope of their CBA that might come through the public records request. And then employee information. So every year, at least once, if not more, people ask for all the salaries of all the staff. So that's a very common one, but there's other kinds of things that happen. If I don't serve you well today and you're really upset, sometimes we get requests for who is this person and other performance reviews and all of that. Not trying to give ideas, because most of our staff give amazing service. And so we don't really get public records requests about the amazing service, but just to know. So things definitely are going up. We do not track the amount of time spent. So I think the question of, what is the cost to the organization? Well, the cost at this point is not just this individual in position, but everybody that has to be part of answering the questions. So the subject matter experts of whatever area it is, IT and all of the holding of all the retention of records and being able to search those records. So there's a lot of different costs that go into it. We will continue to be tracking diligently. We certainly are in compliance with the law. We do well in our response times. And as we said, on here on page 34, we average response time to fulfill a request is 11 days, well under the 30 that we're given. However, things do vary. Sometimes we have requests that are going to take months because of the thousands of records that are being asked to be reviewed. So they get chunked up, and every week there are things happening with those large requests, and we're also moving the, smaller requests forward at the same time. So with that, first of all, thank you to Brett. It's a job to read all of these records and really make sure that anything that has to be crossed out and excluded is done, and all of the communication back and forth with requesters. We take the work seriously. We do understand it's our duty. It's the law, and transparency is important to the library. So with that, any questions that you might have?
I have a couple. So if I'm reading this part here, we're saying in 2024 there was 43 requests.
Correct.
And second question is it possible to maybe go back 10 years at all?
Not easily, because the records were not kept in the same way going back. And we could do some digging. I will tell you that prior to 24, it was even smaller than this. Just in talking with, at the time, for those of you on the board, remember Tack, who was our communications and marketing director. It was part of his job to do public records, and he was easily able to do that. There were much smaller numbers. There was a increase around the 2019 to 2020 period. And then it decreased back again. But what we're seeing is an uphill trend at this point.
And the point you made earlier too is that the number of requests don't necessarily reflect the time that takes, because some are huge and some might be just very simple.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Olga?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm curious if two requests are made that are very similar but by separate people. Do we have the ease of streamlining it by just kind of copy and pasting things, or do we have to go through the process all over again every time and repeat work?
Well, every request is treated as a separate request requiring a separate response. And because we're all human beings, even if we're looking for the same information, we don't often ask it in the same way. So it really depends. If it's asked identically, then yes, there could be an efficiency of how those responses are given, but they're still separate responses.
And then I have a follow-up question. How often are you finding that these are either, I don't know what the right word is. I don't think that there's bots that are doing this, but I know that there are requests made and then no follow-up at times. So whatever the word is for that, unofficial request or a lapsed request, how often are we having ones that basically get dropped?
So, just speaking historically for the 5 months that I have been here, we have had no lapsed requests. We have been able to either fulfill every request, or I think maybe once or twice we have had a requester withdraw the request after we sought clarification. WAPRO, W-A-P-R-O, which oversees public records officers as a professional organization in the state of Washington, has noticed a overall trend uptick in bot or spam requests, but we have not experienced that.
I was curious about that. Do we have things in place that would catch that, or I know last time there was mention of usually you can catch it because of the way the email is or the languages, but is it easy to spot those sorts of things?
They do still have to be responded to. Washington state law is pretty clear on that. We can't just write off a request, but typically if you respond to a bot request, you won't get a reply. So that's the current professional guidance around that.
And then my last question is, Are any of these requests made in person or over the phone, or are they all anonymous over email?
All of the above. So public records can be made in person, in writing, verbally, or submitted by email or fax. That's why we had to, update our policy a few weeks ago to make sure that that contact information was still up to date, that our policy overall was in line with where it needed to be. And so we have had requesters come in and walk up to a front desk and say, hey, I want to make a public records request. That is usually followed by a very quick phone call to me saying, hey, I have someone who has a public records request. What do I do? Typically, what will happen in those instances is the staff member will transcribe the request into written form, which then gets submitted to us to add to our records.
Okay, and I guess I have a final last question. How do we know that we're operating within like legal parameters? I saw that there were, if you scan up, I saw that some requests are for, is it financials and contracts? Can you show me that again?
Pie chart.
Yes.
Contracts and financials, yeah, almost a quarter of them. Help me understand that. What does that mean? I mean, I know all our finances are shown every meeting through Katrina, but is any of this information, I guess it's all public. Help me understand privacy and
Sometimes people ask for things that are available on our website. They just haven't either looked or haven't been able to find it. So those are real easy. We just direct them to those links. That often is the case, but then others are when we're out in doing procurement efforts and there's bidding that's happening and results. People are asking those kinds of questions. And you asked, how do we know we're in compliance with the law? Well, we, one, read the law. We've had the Assistant Attorney General look at our policy. We have Brett going to training, back to the training topic, lots of training for public records officers. So those are some of the ways.
So are we accruing legal fees as well through this process?
Yes, legal fees would be when we ask questions of our attorneys. That is pretty minimal at this point on a public records request because we're pretty astute at what needs to be responded to. But if we have any questions, yes, we would go to our attorney on public records issues.
And do we have
They charge,
any,
it's not free.
is there any forecasting of this being an automated, self-guided process or system at all?
No.
Because no, okay, because if some of the information is easy to find, if you're saying like, right there on the website, there's
Not everything is on the website. So first of all, no is the answer because it requires a review of every single document. It requires a compilation of the records. There are pieces of records that are retracted sometimes legally. And so that is not an automated process that I'm aware of that anybody is talking about at this time. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe someday, but not in my lifetime.
All right. Thanks so much for answering my questions and for making this report.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Brad. And Jennifer. Next, we have Facilities and Finance Committee Staff Report. Jennifer?
Yes, well, some really great news that's in your packet is we did sell our property in Brush Prairie. This property was bought back in 2017 through the foundation and conveyed to the district, where the district paid $200,000 on the property. It was a fire sale. And this was an example of people we have relationships with that came forward and wanted to donate the majority of that cost of the property, but we did pay $200,000 toward it. Years forward, we realized that that property was not really what we needed for building another library in Clark County. It was within 5 miles of Battleground, for example, and where the growth was going, we knew that that wasn't the right location. So in September of 2024, the board agreed to allow me to go and work with a realtor and sell the property. Fast forward, we did have offer to buy the property that came with a contingency that was extended several times, 5, I think it was, while that purchaser decided how they would work through permitting and all of the putting the funds together and all of the things that they needed to do for their business plan. And why we continued to agree to the contingencies, funds were going into an escrow account that they would not be given back if they decided to walk away. But we also weren't getting other offers. And so we're very thrilled that our net proceeds on the sale of the property are over $1 million. So we made over $800,000 in a short amount of time. It's a great return on the investment. And as I put at the bottom, I'm going to recommend that we start a new fund as part of our reserves that would be for the library we've promised in 2030 to open. And so I'll come back to you in November during our budget adjustment period to make that recommendation. So it gives you some time to think about that in advance, but we'll talk about that again during the budget adjustment. Any questions?
I don't think we have any. Thank you. The last item of information is the updated board meeting schedule. Obviously, we are in a different location this month. Next month, we'll be in Goldendale. And then our November meeting is in Woodland. And we won't be able to meet in La Center this year, but we'll get both branch reports for Woodland and La Center in November. Thanks, everyone, trustees and staff, for your flexibility moving our meetings around.
And Chair, we've also added the retreat on.
Yes. Oh, yes. And we will be meeting in December at the Vancouver Library on Saturday, December 12th. All day. Next, we have executive session. The Fort Vancouver Regional Library District Board of Trustees will meet in executive session to discuss personnel as allowed by RCW 42.30.1101G and collective bargaining as allowed by RCW 42.30.1404B. The Board of Trustees will be in executive session for 30 minutes until 7:20 and 7:20 p.m. We will not take further action following the executive session. And we'll be leaving the room.
You're all gonna head by where Andrea is for that way.
Okay, I'm signing off and I will meet online in the other space.
Okay. The Board of Trustees is extending the executive session for a period of 20 minutes or until 7:40 p.m. Thank you.
That's
Chilly.
Do I have to wait till 7:40?
Yeah, you do.
Like 1 minute.
About those nuts.
I put some like,
Just your comment.
that's
Okay, it's 7:40 p.m. And I would like to call the regular meeting back to order. This is the section for board comments. Thanks everyone for staying to listen to our important words of wisdom.
I just want to share real quick that I love the extended hours. I came to the library, this past Sunday, reserved a room, and also used my free 30 copies that you get with your library card. So thank you. I love that.
Did Olga make it back onto the meeting?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I wasn't sure. I just wanted to check in with you if you had any comments here at the end.
Oh, I just wanted to thank everybody for the quick and easy adjustment to the new location, and we will look forward to having you in Goldendale next month. You did miss the rodeo and the bull that was running through town just before our meeting a couple days ago, so too bad.
Okay, thank you, everyone. The next meeting will be Monday, September 21st at 6 p.m. at Goldendale Community Library and on Zoom. Is there a motion to adjourn the August 17th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned.